Manchester United is taking on Bodo Glimt tomorrow at Old Trafford. The side is really coming in through from the Norwegian side, and we are really delighted to see it that Ruben Amorim is really going to be doing his first game at Old Trafford, and that crowd is really going to be rocking because they're going to hit obviously back every manager that has come up and obviously been given a permanent job or an interim job at the club of Manchester United. Ruben Amorim comes in through at a very right juncture to obviously put in a very big shift into the mix. So that's what you're really having in here onto the United Matters channel, and you're going to be talking Manchester United. Over the weekend, we drew 1-1 with Ipswich Town. Remember, it was Marcus Rashford onto the score sheet, and he went ahead, obviously, find himself really putting in his second Premier League goal of the season, and they really pulled one back towards, I think, the end of the first half. I think it was the 41st minute through Hutchinson, formerly at Arsenal and Chelsea, and he leveled up the beautiful game of football. So after that, United were really out of all what they had to do, and they really lost all the patterns and combinations into the attacking phase, and they couldn't obviously break down the side of Ipswich to obviously create a lot. Now, in this game of football, you anticipate that the manager of Manchester United won't allow pressure to mount to himself to not really beat the side of Bodo Glimt, and I think that this game comes in a very perfect timing, that it is at Old Trafford. Bodo Glimt is not all that a hard team to beat, or a hard nut to crack, and this is the best way for a manager to perfect his style of play. If at all he believes that it's the one he's really going to be playing with throughout the season and the coming season. So we are going to wait and see what the confirmed starting 11 is going to be by tomorrow. But right now, we are obviously going to be doing the probable starting 11 in here. For Manchester United, Harry Maguire and Lisandro Martinez have returned into the training session as United prepare to obviously take on the side of Bodo Glimt at Old Trafford, and the manager is really going to be addressing what we call a pre-match press conference today, and I'm really going to be broadcasting that press conference live onto this channel. The moment the manager is done and dusted, I'll obviously come up and obviously put in the required shift into there. And for Lenny Yoro, looks like he got a setback and has not been part of the team. He has been training alone today. That really sends a very worrying message. But the return of Harry Maguire and Lisandro Martinez shows, all indicates that United will be having more options into that back line. Remember, for a manager, he plays with a back three. When the manager really drew with Ipswich Town, very many people judged him, but I'm not one of those who judged him because I know he needs time to obviously elevate this team. If he came in through and obviously had the same system in his mind, obviously that would have been okay, to judge him when he has going to obviously take over the same system like Erik ten Hag. But this manager came in through with a different style of play, and he's like, he's not going to really change. He's really going to keep this. And that is really very, very important. Now, let's get into the probable starting 11 for the club of Manchester United as we prepare to take on Ipswich tomorrow at Old Trafford. The system is 3-4-2-1. That is the system that our manager has gone ahead obviously deploy as his former team lost 5-1 against Arsenal that played this system. And next Wednesday, you know what it is? United is obviously going to be taking on Arsenal. In goal, obviously, it's really going to be the man himself known as Andrea Onana, who is really going to be in between the stitches for the club of Manchester United. As you see him there, that is Andrea Onana doing the needful, and he's really one of those that is really going to take us to the next level as expected. So he made 2 worldies, when we were really taking on Ipswich, and he has really taken himself up to the top of some of the best goalkeepers in the world. And this is what I tell people always, that never judge a player in his first season. At any club, never judge a player in his first season. Now, for those that never gave Andre Onana a second chance, what are you talking about? He's really doing super saves for the club of Manchester United. I think he's the most clean-sheeted goalkeeper in the Premier League with 5 clean sheets. So what do you have to say about him? He's really doing his job and he's really doing the needful. So I just liked how he's really doing. And me, I told you, let him really do this season and see. If he fails, then I'll say he has gonna have to fail himself. But he never even needed to really get into this season to obviously prove very many people wrong, because towards the end of the season, Andrea Onana became what he is. And he went ahead to put in a very beautiful shift all together. Then, right, let's go to the back three. You know, three-man central defense. On the right side of the three-man central defense, I think Mazarawi is really going to maintain his position there, because Harry Maguire, Lindelof, I think they are not yet ready to start. On the left side of the three-man central defense, I think Luke Shaw is really going to make his start for Manchester United after a long while, because he came on and really played some 32 minutes into that game that saw us draw with Ipswich, meaning that those minutes have to initiate him into the game of Bodo Glimt, and he plays like 60, then maybe take him off and bring on Lisandro Martinez, if at all Lisandro Martinez make it to the bench of Manchester United. Then at the center of the three-man central defense, it's Matthias de Ligt doing the due diligence, and I think he played well when you're playing against Ipswich, and that is the back three. And for Matthias de Ligt, this system is not new, because he played in this system at Netherlands, you know, under Louis van Gaal, and he played in this system at Bayern Munich. You know, sometimes Thomas Tuchel brought in the system of 3-4-2-1, if you remember that very, very well. So that is how things are really panning out at the club of Manchester United, and we believe that the back four is really going to be as that. Now, on the right wing back, I think with the efforts that Amadi Diallo put in through, the manager is really going to be maintaining that position for Amadi Diallo, right? And on the left wing back, I think he's going to obviously bring back Diego Dallo. That's what I really anticipate. And if it's not the case, the manager might obviously say, I'm going to be playing Dallo onto the right wing back and maybe bring in Tyrell Malacia. And maybe bring in Tyrell Malacia to play as a left wing back. So we'll be waiting to see what decision this manager is really going to be making. But all in all, we'll be waiting to see what the manager has to put up. Then in the midfield, I think the other change is going to be made in here. I think Manuel Ugarte has to start in this game, because in this system to be effective, you need players that are really good at pressing, quick interception, and they are box-to-box players. And I think Manuel Ugarte obviously gets you that. With Eriksson and Casemiro really being played in the double pivot, as we played against Ipswich, you saw to it that we lacked energy, you know, of really going in front and obviously tracking back, meaning that we needed a player who really has something to do with that mobility, you know, into that midfield. Then on the left, the other double pivot, I think Casemiro obviously coming through, obviously play some minutes, or if not, Kobe Mainoo might get minutes, because the manager might try to imply or really put in a different might try to obviously put in a different pair of a double pivot, because he started with Eriksson and Casemiro when you're playing against Ipswich. This time round, I anticipate that Ugarte will be in. If not Casemiro, it's really gonna be Kobe Mainoo to obviously get himself into the mix. All else, you might even see Mason Mount being played into the double pivot, because the manager is trying out all things. But having not used Kobe Mainoo in the first game and not using him in the same game in this game will obviously raise dust, you know, if he doesn't really get minutes into this game of football. Now, let's go to the front two. You know, I think Bruno Fernandes will obviously maintain his position there as the captain. And then I think Marcus Rashford is going to come in through for Garnacho. I tell you, you know, I don't want Marcus Rashford into my starting 11, but I'm telling you the problem, because I believe an order has been really issued that Marcus Rashford is not droppable at Manchester United. Him, Bruno Fernandes are not droppable, because we are having better players. We're having a better player that can play into that position of Marcus Rashford. By the way, my ideal two number 10s in this system should be Amadi Diallo and Bruno Fernandes. That is it. Those are my ideal Those are my ideal two number 10s that should obviously feature into this beautiful game of football. But Rashford looks like he has to find himself a way, and there is no way I can play Marcus Rashford as my targets man, because you saw what he did. You know, after scoring that goal, he went a wall. He went missing. He was ghosting in the game. He couldn't press, he couldn't run, and I was like, what's the reason for us really putting him into our beautiful game of football? So who is going to lead the line for me? It's going to be Rasmus Hojlund. That is it. I'll get Rasmus Hojlund to lead the line, because when he came on through, you saw to it that United was really building up patterns in the attack. You remember that time when he really had a 1-2 play, one football touch with Bruno Fernandes, and Bruno Fernandes was fouled because he had positioned himself in a position he could obviously shoot that ball into the back of the net. So that is United for you, and you're waiting to see how things are really going to be panning out into that system. Now, that is my probable starting 11, and I'm calling upon for your reactions into the comment section below about who do you want in and who do you want out. But I believe that he's really going to maintain the large part of the team that really played, and the only changes and the only players I believe that are really going to make themselves into this team is Luke Shaw, Rasmus Hojlund, and Manuel Ugarte. That's what I'm really believing. So that's what you're really having it as a club of Manchester United, and I believe that's how the manager will obviously build his side, as will obviously take on the side of Bodo Glimt. Now, these are the head-to-head stats that we've gone ahead to get in through from Google. 1. This will be the first Manchester United's first ever meeting with Norwegian opponents in all European competitions. So we haven't gone ahead to face a Norwegian opponent in Europe, whether in the Champions League or the UEFA Europa League. Secondly, Bodo Glimt's only previous meetings with English opponents came in 2022-2023 UEFA Europa League, losing 3-0 away and 1-0 at home to Arsenal. So Arsenal played Bodo Glimt and Arsenal won them twice. Then thirdly, Man United lost their first 2 games in the UEFA Europa League, losing to Frank Boas Ajax and Marcelo Bielsa's Atletico Club in 2011-2012. Since then, they've lost just 1 out of 26 games at Old Trafford in the competition. So, at Old Trafford, United has won 19 games and 6 draws, and really, they've gone ahead to obviously draw or lose 1, meaning that 26 games, 19 wins, 6 draws, and 1 loss. So that is Manchester United for you, and I think that went to Real Sociedad. Then, fourth is Bruno Fernandes has been involved in 11 goals in 13 UEFA Europa League appearances at Old Trafford for Manchester United, scoring 4 goals and assisting 7. That is Bruno Fernandes for you, and I think he's really going to play a very huge part into what United is really going to be looking like when it comes to the game of football. Then lastly, Bodo Glimt's Patrick Berg has both made the most tackles, 22, and most interceptions, 12, in the UEFA Europa League this season. Berg made 9 tackles and 4 interceptions against Quebec on MD4, the first player to post both numbers in a single UEFA Europa League game since Diego Laxalt in October 2020 for Celtic versus Leeds. So they're really having a destroyer in them, in that midfield of theirs, and United has obviously up their game of football. So Bodo comes into this game of football when over the weekend they obviously had to beat Odd by 2-0. That is Bodo, and they're really leading the table of Norway Elite League with 59 points. Now, when you look at Bodo, right? When you look at Bodo and the players they are really missing out, let's go to Sportsmall and see. They are telling us that why are you freezing then? Now, they're telling us that Bodo Glimt will be without Quinket, Omal Elabode, Samuel Bozeviski, Daniel Bassi, Goute Veti, and Sekedi for the first ever encounter with Manchester United. It could be a busy evening again for goalkeeper Nikita Heikin, whose 24 saves in the opening 4 league phase games of the UEFA Europa League is higher than any other stopper, you know. So that is how everything really starts. Now, they've told us that this is how they believe Bodo Glimt is obviously going to stand. Heikin, Sojovaje, Nelson, Botuf, Brokan. Then the midfield, they will be having Evegen, Bag, and Sultans. Then the front three will be having Zinkmagel, Hog, and Hage. You get? That is how they obviously stand. Now, when you look at the side of Bodo Glimt and the system that they've always gone ahead to play, you really understand that maybe Man United might obviously ease past them. And I'm really gonna tell you that my prediction for this encounter, I think United are really gonna go hard. 3-0 for the club of Manchester United, because I want my manager to win. I want my manager to win and obviously keep it going. So that's my probable starting 11, and that is my prediction. I call upon for your reactions into the comment section below. About 1, Man United versus Bodo. My probable starting 11, my prediction is 3-0 for the club of Manchester United. Go into the comment section and tell me what your prediction is for the club or for this game that's going to be played at Old Trafford. That is Ruben Amorim's first ever game to be managed at Old Trafford, and we pray to it that he really lifts the spirits of these players and we obviously register those 3 points into the mix. That's my prayer today, and I would love to see to it that we go up and obviously lift this game and see to it that we collect 3 points out of it, because we need to build the confidence of these players of Manchester United and the manager to be safe, because the moment he goes into the game of Everton without a win, you know, pressure will mount onto this manager and he might find himself really doing what he's not supposed to be doing. So the earlier he gets wins, the earlier he obviously decreases the pressure. The more he really takes without really getting in wins, I tell you, pressure will be mounting on our manager and a lot will not go his way. So I sign out for now. See you. Let us continue to subscribe. We want to hit 20,000 subscribers, and I'm going to be returning with the pre-match press conference reaction coming from Ruben Amorim into this beautiful encounter. Rokan David is my name. I'm out for now. Bye-bye. See you in our next video 2-3 hours from now. Bye-bye, my mates. Love you. And this is Rokan David onto the United Matters channel, and hope you guys are really having fun wherever you are. And this is what we do in here on a daily. Bye-bye.